Welcome to the Get the B.A.G podcast. I'm Kelly, your host, and on today's episode, we have Shawnelle from Star Training.
Hey guys.
How you doing, Miss Shawnelle?
Good. How are you?
Good. I know it's allergy season and everything, and
Honey.
we are both struggling on today, y'all. So bear with us, right? All the
Right.
scratchiness, all that great stuff. So go ahead and tell me about your business, about Star Training, and how all that came about.
So, as Miss Kelly said, my name is Shawnelle. I am a registered nurse and the owner
Mm-hmm.
of Star Training. So, how it came about, I know kids have that goal of, oh, when I grow up, I want to be a nurse. That
Mm-hmm.
was not my goal as a kid. As a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian. I loved animals. I loved all things animals. And I
Mm-hmm.
shadowed at a vet clinic, and it was nothing like Animal Planet.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so I was like, nope, I don't want to do this. Like I clipped dogs' toenails, and that was the excitement of the day.
Wow.
So my freshman year of college, I decided to just do biology major,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a child my senior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
So juggling school plus being a parent plus learning to be a new adult, that
Mm-hmm.
was tough.
Yes.
Um, Unfortunately, I could not give the kid back. They frown upon that. And I had no choice but to be an adult. So
Yeah.
I dropped out of college and I was working a bunch of dead end jobs
Mm-hmm.
from Long's Bakery to daycares to whoever would hire me. That way I could provide for my child.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine said that I could become a CNA and she'd get me on at her job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, girl, I do not want to wipe old people's butts. No, I don't want to do that.
Mm.
And she told me how much they made, which at the time was $10.50 an hour, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that's more than the $7.25 that I was
Mm-hmm.
making.
That was bank
Let
then.
me tell you. So I started doing some research and actually got partnered up with a local community center that paid for me to go get my CNA certification.
Awesome.
Got my CNA certification in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
I started working in the field and was like, I actually like taking care of people. This is nice.
Yes.
So I enrolled in nursing school in April of 2010. I finished that
Mm-hmm.
in 2012, and I worked as a nurse for a while. And I've seen that there is a huge lack in the way that our CNAs are being trained today.
Mm.
And so I remember it's so funny. One of my friends reached out to me the other day and was like, Sean, I remember when we were sitting at the nurse's desk and we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about you wanted to start a CNA training program. And so I started putting together and researching and figuring out what I needed to do to start a CNA training program.
Mm-hmm.
Because who better to train the CNAs than a nurse that is working in the field
Absolutely.
alongside them?
Mm-hmm.
So I started getting things together. I found a mentor and started putting stuff together. And then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, those contracts were paying so well
Awesome.
that
Yes.
I was like, I gotta go get this money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took a travel contract. I actually went out to New York during the height of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I was out there for almost 3 months. If I never visit New York again, I'm okay with it. If I
Really?
never go back, I'm fine. I got chased home by a homeless man one
Oh my
day. The
goodness.
rats are huge.
They are definitely huge, not gonna lie. And it's like really dirty,
It's
but I loved it though,
Nope,
for some odd
I'm
reason.
cool. I'm a-okay. But the money from that actually helped me launch my business.
Mm-hmm.
So Star Training came about in March of 2021. So
Mm-hmm.
we have been in business a little over a year and a half. And doing this, it has opened my eyes up to like I like helping people help
Mm-hmm.
themselves.
Yes.
And that's what I'm doing. Like I am giving people some hope,
Mm-hmm.
some sense of I can do it, and some sense of accomplishment.
Yes.
So that is what we do. We do CNA training and provide a little mentorship on the side.
Yeah, so let's park on that mentorship because you talked about having a mentor yourself. How important has that been to you throughout this process?
Oh, it was so important. I actually had several mentors. I had one for like my professional life, and I had one
Mm-hmm.
for my personal life. And I feel like just having someone who has been through something,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not comparable to what you're going through, but someone that's been through something and show you like, hey, you come out of that.
Yes.
Yeah, you can be victorious regardless of the storms that you're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was very, very important, and having someone that is so like my business mentor, she actually owns her own CNA training facility,
Mm-hmm.
and so having someone that was in that role of where I wanted to be
Mm-hmm.
was a good thing because like when I hit roadblocks and things of that nature, it was good to have someone to reach out to
Yes.
be able to say, okay, this is how I navigated through that roadblock.
Hmm. How did you go about finding those particular mentors? Did you ask? What was your process in that?
So my personal mentor, I actually, I worked with her. So I was a young nurse. I was 22.
Hmm.
So I was a young nurse, a little hot headed, a little quick to
Hmm.
pop off. And she was an older black lady that worked with me. She was a nurse. She'd been nurse for 30 plus years.
Nothing like an older
I
lady,
know,
right? You like
right?
22 with a friend that's like 60, right?
Exactly, and that's exactly how it was. She was in her 50s, and I remember she pulled me to the side because I had gotten in trouble at work for something because my attitude got me in trouble a
Mm.
lot. And she goes, Shawnelle, you are going to be your biggest roadblock.
Mm.
And I was like, what you mean I'm going to be my biggest roadblock? How am
Hmm.
I going to be my biggest roadblock?
Yeah.
And she sat me down and broke it down to me and told me, like, everything does not need a fire response from you.
Mm.
And so, like, just to have someone that cared enough
Hmm.
to tell me, like, I was in my own way
Yes.
made a big difference. So I think having those mentors, whether they're professional or personal, it
Hmm.
matters.
Y'all listening, that is definitely meat and
Hmm.
potatoes.
It matters.
Especially, when it comes to being young and developing yourself, having somebody who recognizes that and they're able to say, hey, you might want to cool down just a little bit.
Absolutely.
Because I definitely relate to that hot headedness at first because we want to conquer the world
Hmm.
and we see exactly how it should be. And
Hmm.
because we see how it should be, we go extra hard.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
How did you personally overcome that and take those
Um,
steps to recognize when you were in that space?
so me, I'm a natural controller.
Mhm.
And I struggle when I am not in control of things.
Mhm.
And I had to just kind of take a step back and say, you know what, everything does not have to be in your control.
Mhm.
And that's okay because you can't control everything. And if you stress yourself out trying to control everything, you'll get nothing accomplished.
Yes.
And so, like, I literally take steps back from situations
Mhm.
and try to analyze, okay, what in this situation can I really control?
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, the only thing I really can control in every situation is myself and
Yes.
how I respond to it and what energy I give it.
Mm.
And so, growth and development, years and time is what it
Mhm.
took. A bump in my head over and over again.
Mhm.
That did happen because I was like I said, I was hot headed. You couldn't tell me
Yeah.
nothing because I got it all figured out and I'm in control.
Yes.
And the moment I stepped back and realized that I was not in control of everything, and
Mhm.
it was okay for me to take some advice, and it was okay for me to take some
Mhm.
guidance from people, was like the moment that I realized, okay, like it's
Mhm.
okay to not have control of it all.
Mhm. How has that translated into success in your current business?
I think, like I said, I control what I can. So, like those things that I cannot control, I don't
Mhm.
focus on them. I don't, not necessarily saying they don't matter, but I don't pour my energy into them because I can't control them.
Mhm.
And I think that that has helped my business be successful because there are things inside of my business I can control. I can control how my curriculum is taught. I can control how I interact with
Mhm.
my students. I can control what part of me I give my students.
Yes.
And I think that is what has helped me be successful and set me aside from other programs.
Hmm. Now you said something super like I definitely want to dive into. You control the part of you that you share with others.
Hmm.
Let's get into that. How has that allowed you to balance your business, your home life, all those things, and grow your business?
Um, so I actually had a event in my life that happened while I was in the middle of teaching a class. So I have two children.
Hmm.
I have a 14-year-old boy that he's teenaging so bad, y'all.
Mm,
We just
mm.
gonna pray about that because I know I was not the greatest
Glory.
teenager, and they say they give it back to you
Hmm.
tenfold.
I'm scared.
Terrified, terrified. And I also have an 8-year-old daughter.
Hmm.
And July of last year, we discovered that my daughter had a tumor on her spinal cord.
Hmm.
She had developed this limp that just had like come and go, and the people that know Lainey, she's very dramatic, okay,
Hmm.
and so she spends a lot of time with my grandmother, and my grandmother has like plantar
Oh, they pick
fascia.
up the old
Exactly.
people
Exactly. So
vibes.
like one day she would limp and the next day she wouldn't.
Hmm.
And so I was like, girl, stop playing.
Yes.
And so one morning she said, Mommy, I promise I'm not playing. My
Oh.
leg is not doing what I'm telling
Hmm.
it to do. And so like I said, we discovered that she had a tumor on her spine and we had to go through surgery, and we spent almost 3 months in the hospital
Mm-hmm.
after that, and I was still teaching class.
Wow.
So I would teach class during the day and spend the night at the hospital, shower,
Mm-hmm.
get ready, and go to class the next day. And that entire time, I didn't really allow people in because I
Mm-hmm.
felt like if I allowed people in, I would crash.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to keep pushing so I
Mm-hmm.
didn't allow that emotional overwhelmness to take over me.
Mm.
Because at that point, like, my, at the time, 7-year-old is looking at me
For
for
that
her
strength.
strength.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that is what I mean by, like, I control what part of me people
Mm-hmm.
get to see.
I totally understand that. As a mom, as a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
all that. And it gets emotional, right? Because I see you, girl.
Absolutely.
And I want to applaud you because it's not easy to carry on in those moments.
Yep.
And for my entrepreneurs out there, especially my women, I want you to know that you're gonna have those moments where it feels like everything is against you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those are the moments that make you,
Yep.
right? But when you have the support system, right?
Absolutely.
When you have your faith, when you are determined, and this is where you've got to be determined,
You
right?
got to.
Because you got that, I can see it in you, that determination spirit, right?
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that, that's when it's going to
That's
fail,
when it's,
right?
yep.
Because you're going to hit that test
Mm-hmm.
that's going to say, are you really committed to this particular
Yep.
thing, right?
Yep.
And so through all of that, you were committed to this thing, right?
Yes.
You were committed to the people that you were serving, and you were committed to the health of your daughter, right?
Absolutely.
And sometimes, in order to get through it at that present moment in time, we got to
You got to keep,
compartmentalize,
exactly, and
right?
that's what I had to do. I had to, because I mean, people from this place, that place, and other places, like, what's going on? What's wrong with
Mm-hmm.
Lainey? And it was like at that moment, I didn't want to share. I couldn't share because I was
Yeah.
like, if I stop
Yeah.
right here and I share and I indulge in it, it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna consume me, and I
Mm-hmm.
gotta keep pushing. I
Yeah.
gotta keep going. And so, like you said, those tests come, and
Mm-hmm.
they are going to try
Mm-hmm.
to break you, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to be determined
Yeah.
not to let anything stop you or hinder you, and keep your eyes on those goals.
Mm-hmm. How did you self-care in that process?
How did I self care in that process? Probably not very healthily,
Mm-hmm.
because when I have things going on that are taking emotional toll on me,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of make myself more busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what kept me going. Because, like I said, I would teach during the day. So at that point, I had to put the mask on and give my students the knowledge that they were paying and seeking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd get to the hospital with my daughter and have to put another mask on
Mm-hmm.
because she's asking those hard questions of, like, Mommy, why would God allow this to happen to me?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I masked a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And I think me masking kind of, that was my self-care, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds like toxic a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, but that is what helped me get through it, was not to, like, necessarily indulge. I feel like when we indulge in our moments, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, we allow them to consume us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, yes, people were telling me, like, you need to go get a massage. And I'm like, well, if I go in there and I lay on that massage table, guess what? I'm going to think about all the
All
things that are
things.
going wrong right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think, like I said, just indulging in my work, like diving into my work. I strengthened my program. I actually started an evening class
Mm-hmm.
during that time. And I made myself super duper busy.
The thing I love the most about what you're saying is that you knew who you were
Yeah.
in that moment, right?
Absolutely.
Some of us need to do other self-care things. Some of us need to not indulge in that moment. And it's okay to know exactly who you
Exactly.
are
Exactly.
in that space, right? It doesn't have to look like anybody else's space, right?
Absolutely. And
Because I know some people will come at you and be like, well, you needed to do this and you need to do
it's like,
that.
no, I know what I need to do for me. And
Yeah.
like, when you take time and figure out who you are, what you need,
Mhm.
figure out your needs. Like, I think, like, as women, we get so caught up in, I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, I'm a this, I'm a that, and you forget, like, you got to be there for you too.
Yes.
And so I knew in that moment that's what I needed. Now, when we made it through the storm and my daughter was back home, I took a vacation.
Yes.
I went to Miami for a week, and I was Monica for a week. Like,
Yes.
that's my alter ego, and that's what I did.
Mhm.
So it's like, I knew, like, I've taken time to sit and talk to Shawnelle
Mhm.
and figure out, like, who she is and what she needs to keep pushing forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Tell me about like your business and the students that you teach and the process.
Absolutely. So, like I said, I do CNA training. We offer both day and evening classes. So, I started offering
Hmm.
evening classes because I was experiencing people wanting to go through class, but they still got to work.
Yes.
And so, the students that I get some characters.
Hmm.
I get some students that I have to like literally hold their hand and
Hmm.
say, okay, I'm gonna call you in the morning when I wake up and I'm getting ready for class, so you make
Hmm.
sure you up and getting ready for class too.
Hmm.
And then I have some students that they want it, they're determined.
Hmm.
They don't necessarily need that extra push because
Hmm.
life is giving them that extra push.
Yeah.
And I think being able, like, I'm a person with my students, so
Hmm.
I do allow them to see, like, I go through things, I experience things, and I think that
Hmm.
allows them to open up to me.
Yes.
And so, like, I've had students that come to me with XYZ problems, and I'm thankful to have, like, partnerships with
Hmm.
people like the Ed Martin Center and other community centers in the
Hmm.
area to where I can be like, okay, you're having this problem. I know this place can help you with that.
Absolutely.
So I love being able to kind of be that puzzle put together,
Yes.
if you will, if that's a word.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that is kind of what my program does. So the day program 5 weeks, evening program 6 weeks.
Hmm.
So in a little as 9 weeks, you'll be on your way to your CNA certification.
Hmm.
I help you study for the state exam.
Yes.
I've even gone further and put together like TEAS reviews for my students
Hmm.
that decide they want to go back to nursing school.
Yes.
So that is kind of what we do. We kind of help the entire. I feel like I've become like a social worker, if you will, as
Yes.
well. Because I mean, my students they find comfort,
Hmm.
and it's an intimate space. Like I don't have huge classes. I don't take any more than 10 students at a time. So it's
Hmm.
very intimate, and I keep it that way. That way, I'm able to see like when students are falling
Hmm.
behind and when they're slipping and not getting homework done and things of that nature.
Hmm.
That way, we make sure like if you start this and you give me some effort, we're gonna be successful.
Mhm. That is definitely meat and potatoes and the quality of the whole student, right?
Absolutely,
You are definitely the definition of a true teacher, right? And
absolutely.
some would beg a pastor because a pastor does that. They
Hmm.
are concerned with the care of the whole person,
The
right?
whole person, absolutely.
And so I love that. It's like, you know what? If you're struggling in this moment and based on your experiences, you're able to say, you know what? I can be that for you
Hmm.
in this moment,
Yep,
right? I love that you take care of the whole student. And it's not about the quantity, but the quality of the people that you put out there, right?
absolutely,
Because we all, at some point in our lives, are going to need a CNA, right?
absolutely.
Whether
We
it's
are.
we're going to the doctor or it's somebody who's caring for our elderly family
Hmm.
members. For me, I actually experienced that. She ended up being a really good friend of mine that I grew up with.
Hmm.
Shout out to Corey. And the level of care that she gave at
Hmm.
that present moment in time was so comforting to myself and to my family. And so putting these people out there who have that empathy, who've been cared for on the back end,
Absolutely,
I think makes a huge difference, right? And
absolutely,
so thank you for that because we all need CNAs who care, right?
absolutely,
We've experienced a couple who have it, right?
honey.
So if you're gonna go through a program, we're gonna tell you to go through STAR training because they teach what you need to learn, right?
Yes,
It's not
ma'am.
just about the test, but it's about creating the whole CNA, right?
Yes,
The whole
yes.
person, right? So thank you for that part of things. Also, tell me, I know you got some awesome things coming up next. What's next for you?
What's next for me? Um, so what's next is I am actually in the process of starting a home care service.
Yes.
So Star Home Care Services
Mm-hmm.
is it's developing. It is being birthed as we speak. I want to be able to transition my students. So
Mm-hmm.
those students who show me like this is what I want, I'm going above and beyond. Um, and I want this. I want to care for people. I want to be compassionate. I want to be empathetic. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to offer them a position afterwards. Not saying that we have lack of positions for CNAs because we
Mm-hmm.
don't. But there are some companies that are just not treating the employee as a whole person.
Mm.
And I want to be that for people. I want people to understand, like, I get it. I'm a person too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I understand, like, life happens, but you still need your job at the end of life
Mm-hmm.
happening. And I kind of want to be that. On the flip side, I also want to be able to ensure my community, like, you're going to get great caregivers
Mm-hmm.
from my service.
Yes. That is absolutely awesome. So I cannot wait to see the manifestation of all of that. Can you tell us where we can find you at, how we can get to your classes?
Absolutely. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Star Training on Facebook, Star Training Indie on Instagram. And then my website is startrainingindy.com, where you can sign up for classes, look at the classes that we offer, the course layout. We partner with different community centers in the area, the Ed Martin Center, as well as others that will help with the financing of
Mm-hmm.
that class, as well as other roadblocks that may come up while you're in class.
Absolutely. So get with one of those organizations so that you can get to Miss Star, so they can be cost effective for you. Go
Absolutely.
through the programs. I think that is prepare yourself, right?
Yes.
What would you say to somebody who's looking to be a CNA? How should they prepare themselves for the classes? What do they
Um,
need to think about?
if you are looking to be a CNA, you must truly, truly care about caring for people,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of that person's race, age, ethnicity, any of the above. You must truly enjoy caring for people because you're going to meet people in their most vulnerable moments.
Mm-hmm.
And some people exhibit anger in those vulnerable moments, some people exhibit sadness, and you cannot take it personal and you
Yes.
cannot let it affect the way you care.
Mm-hmm.
So truly sit and evaluate yourself and understand, like, do I really like taking care of people?
Mm-hmm.
And if you answer yes, and the blood, guts, and glory of it all doesn't bother you, then absolutely, let's get
Mm-hmm.
you started.
Girl, because I can't do it. The blood, guts, and glory. See, that's why I'm by
That's
trade a
where you
social
draw the
worker.
line.
I will write up your plan. I will get you discharged. All that other great stuff. Yes, knowing exactly where you are in that process, right?
Yes, you gotta
Um,
know you.
hmm Absolutely. You are phenomenal. And I know that you talked a little bit about, not seeing yourself in the space of being a mentor, but now
Yeah,
recognizing
yeah,
that this is like an area that you shine at.
absolutely.
How has that been? Because we get that imposter syndrome. How have you gotten past that?
Um, so for the longest, I was like, just be humble, be humble, be
Mm-hmm.
humble. And I made the statement when I first came in here that I'm kind of taking my humble hat off a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because I have come through some things. I have
Yes.
overcome some things. I have had some obstacles, and it's like there are people in our community that need to see, like, hey, where you came from does not determine
Mm-hmm.
where you're going. Like,
Yes. Can you
so
say that
what?
again?
Where you came from does not determine where you're going.
Yes.
So, like, I didn't grow up in the best conditions. I didn't have all the glamorous things.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times that I had to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be determined to succeed and determined to come out of your current circumstances. And once you have that determination, the world is yours.
What would you say to an entrepreneur who's looking to do what you're doing right now? What would your first piece of advice be to them?
Go get it.
Yes.
Go get it. Like, if I can do it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have magic powers. I'm not a superhero. I'm a human being just like you are. And if you want it, go get it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miss
Yeah.
Shawnelle. Can you tell us where we can find you one more time so our listeners can get that?
Yes, ma'am. So on Facebook, Star Training, Instagram, Star Training Indie, and then the website is startrainingindy.com.
All right, so go find Star Training and Miss Shawnelle if you are interested in becoming a CNA.
Absolutely.
And as always, get the
The bag.
bag. The evolution of your small business starts today. Sign up for our partners Verizon Small Business Digital Ready platform, a free service to you to advance your business. Check the link below and click on that, and it'll take you right to our Verizon Wireless link.